Isidoro, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to allow for telephonic and video conference meetings in response to COVID-19. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. The live audio of this meeting is being broadcast online. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. Today is October 12th, 2020. The time is 6:08. And I call this meeting to order. I will now begin the roll call. Call each board member by name. Let the record show that a quorum of board members are in attendance. Mr. Kennedy?
Present.
Dr. Jaime? Mr. Lopez?
Present.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Here.
Coach Cuellar?
Here by video.
And Dr. Rivera?
Here.
Opening prayer, Dr. Canales.
The Board of Trustees, our opening prayer will be led by Mr. Elias Trevino. Mr. Trevino.
Let's bow our heads and let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before your throne of glory to honor and thank you. You have been faithful, Lord God, from generation to generation. We fail you, Lord God, with our words and thoughts and actions, but you continue to be faithful. Bless and honor our superintendent, board, administrators, teachers, and staff that despite of the struggles with the pandemic and all other issues in life, we remain committed to our community's most valuable resource, our boys and girls. Father, we ask you also to bless our city and county officials whose heart is to serve. Lord, continue to pour upon us, Lord God, wisdom and understanding to honor you in all that we do. We invite you to be the center of this meeting. As your word declares in Colossians 3:23, and whatsoever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Lord, we continue to ask you for divine protection and healing over all our staff, students, and community. Bring healing, Lord God, to our land. May your name be glorified and praised. We ask you all things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
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 Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge, Dr. Canales.
Mr. Nieto, our Pledge of Allegiance and our Texas Pledge will be led by Dr. Sergio Garcia.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Item 5, awards and recognitions, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have 2 recognitions this evening. The first one is a student for FFA, and the second one is a new WISD A+ award. Carlos Roberto, please tell us more.
Yes, if we can go ahead and bring up our PowerPoint presentation, Dr. Canales, we can see some wonderful photos here, because tonight we do want to recognize a student and also an employee during this section of our board meeting. So we'll wait and get up that photo so we could see one of our students. Dr. Canales, are you going to present that?
I will be happy to present. I'm having a little bit of trouble right now, but
Okay.
I'm almost ready.
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, thank you very much, everybody who is attending and watching and listening, for your patience. And tonight we want to recognize CTE student and Future Farmers of America member Noah Cuellar, who was recently elected as the 2020-2021 Vice President for the Citrus Valley District. The Weslaco High School senior will now help set policy and advance district goals as part of his duties. This district includes high schools from La Jolla, Mission, PSJA, Mercedes, and Donna. Because of COVID-19, the application process included virtual interviews and speeches before the election. NOAA continues a 9-year tradition of WISD representation at the Citrus Valley District. Congratulations, Noah Cuellar. All right, up next, we want to go to something that we're starting off brand new here. Let me give you a little bit of background. This month, we're beginning the WISD A+ Employee of the Month Recognition Program. Each board meeting, we will highlight a staff member who has performed service of the highest quality for students, staff, co-workers, or parents. At the end of the year, a staff member will be selected from these monthly recipients for the coveted Employee of the Year Award. For the month of October, we are recognizing an employee who took the initiative and resolved an issue during these unprecedented circumstances. A lifelong learner herself, she helped mobilize the distribution of Chromebooks with other campus librarians to ensure that every Weslaco ISD student would be ready for remote learning. Thanks to her determination and hard work, she made a positive impact on countless students. From West Lacoise High School, our very first Employee of the Month, our A+ award goes to librarian Renee Dyer. Congratulations, Ms. Dyer, on this award. You're the very first recipient. Our Employee of the Month for October.
And of course, congratulations to Noah Cuellar, sponsor over at Weslaco East. And of course, Mrs. Dyer for doing so much during this COVID-19. We'll continue. Or is that it, Carlos? There's only 2 you have?
That's it for right now, correct.
Roman numeral 6, proclamation of National Custodial Day, October 2nd, 2020. Dr. Canales.
We have several proclamations this evening. The first one is our National Custodial Day, which was October 2nd, 2020. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, administration, and everybody in our Weslaco ISD family, we did send a message to our custodial staff who is doing tremendous work, like they always do, and throughout this pandemic. So for the proclamation, Mr. Robledo, will you please read the proclamation?
I sure will. Whereas National Custodial Day encourages appreciation to the men and women who keep our schools and workplaces across the district running smoothly. And whereas Weslaco ISD has a custodial department that conducts custodial and maintenance duties for district facilities and properties, whereas these workers operate behind the scenes and are often underappreciated for the hard work they do day after day. And whereas now more than ever, custodial employees are on the front lines and contribute to the safety and well-being of students and staff. Therefore, be it resolved that Isidoro Nieto, President of Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim October 2nd, 2020 as National Custodial Worker Day. Congratulations and thank you to all the custodians at WISD for all the hard work that they do.
Thank you, Carlos.
Should I move on to the others? We do have several proclamations. Dr. Canales, I will proceed. Okay, thank you, ma'am. We will go on to our next proclamation, which is the National Education Human Resource Day. So whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all our students, and whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits. And whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational culture, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and social responsibility, therefore be it resolved that Isidoro Nieto, WISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 12th, 2020 as Texas Education Human Resource Day. Thank you very much, everybody in the Human Resource Department for all you do. Up next, we'd also like to read the proclamation for Red Ribbon Week. We are in October, and we do know that Red Ribbon Week is between October 28th and November 1st. So whereas National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in Weslaco and the city of Weslaco and Weslaco Independent School District during the week of October 23rd through October 31st. And whereas Weslaco ISD and the city of Weslaco are coordinating this grassroots community awareness program in a united effort with representatives throughout the community. And whereas business, government, law enforcement, schools, religious institutions, service organizations, youth, medical, senior citizens, military, sports teams, and individuals all demonstrate their commitment to drug and alcohol-free, healthy lifestyles. Therefore, be it resolved that Isidoro Nieto, Weslaco ISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 23rd through October 31st, 2020 as Red Ribbon Week. We do have we have two more proclamations. This one is for Dyslexia Awareness Month. Whereas dyslexia is a language-based learning disability, which often limits a student's ability to succeed in traditional classroom setting. And whereas neurological in origin, dyslexia affects the way the brain processes information and is a leading cause of difficulties with reading, writing, and spelling. And whereas special education opportunities, including highly trained teachers, multisensory learning programs, and individualized instruction are vital to the dyslexic person's future success. Therefore, be it resolved that Isidoro Nieto, President of WISD District Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim October 2020 as Dyslexia Awareness Month. Up next, the month of October is Principals Month. And I know we have plenty of principals who are watching right now, so we'd like to read this proclamation in their honor. As school leaders, principals are entrusted with our most valuable resource, our young people. These students are our promise for the future, and it is absolutely critical that they receive a rigorous and well-rounded education. Principals are more than just caretakers for their schools. Principals are expected to be educational leaders, disciplinarians, community builders, spokespeople, budget analysts, and guardians of policy mandates and initiatives. Principals set the academic tone for their school and work collaboratively with teachers to maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance objectives. Therefore, be it resolved that Isidoro Nieto, Weslaco ISD School Board President, does hereby support and proclaim October 2020, the entire month, as Principals Month.
Thank you, Carlos.
And that concludes our proclamation.
Any comments, Dr. Canales?
Just a lot of proclamations, a lot of great things in Weslaco ISD. We are a family, we are a team, making great things happen. Our principals set the tone, they set the weather for their entire campus. Our custodians, help with making sure that now that we're safer than ever in our campuses when it comes to health. Our dyslexia team provides tremendous service to students who want so badly to read and write and just need that extra support. Our HR department, I invite everybody to read more about what HR does. There's a lot of information, and part of this proclamation was to make sure that we understand the intricacies and the complexities of human resource department, and they do a tremendous job working long hours. And then, of course, our commitment together to make sure that our children make good decisions when it comes to using substances and things that are harmful, to them and their bodies. So just wonderful to have the proclamations to honor our staff. Almost every single month we have one. Thank you, Mr. Nieto.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. And of course, the custodians and HR department have done an excellent job. But most and foremost, actually, are the principals. The principals do an outstanding job, especially since March during COVID-19. Being out there many more hours than what they normally are. So principals, outstanding job this year, and continue to do the job that you do. Dr. Rivera, any comments on the principals?
Yes, excellent. Again, excellent job. It's been since March, it's been a struggle, a task, and they've all come through. So great job to all the principals, the assistants, the staff, and all these proclamations. Job well done and deserved to all these individuals and organizations. Good job to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, Coach. Again, thank you to all our principals, our staff. Everything that y'all do day in and day out doesn't go unnoticed. Again, thank you. Congratulations. And stay safe.
Dr. Jaime?
Yes, Coach. Thank you from our custodians to HR to our principals. Thank you for all you do. I know these are tough times, and you all have done an outstanding job making sure that everybody's needs are met. And thank you for holding down the fort during these tough times. There. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime. Mr. Lopez?
Yes, I also want to thank all the staff, our custodians and human resources. I mean, Melva and of course our principals. Everybody has done a wonderful job to get us through and work us through this horrible pandemic that we're going through. It's not over with yet, and they still have a lot of work, and I know that they're up to the challenge, and they'll come out ahead. In the long run, we have the best staff available anywhere, and it shows. So thank you all for all y'all do, and keep up the good work, and we're here for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Coach Cuellar?
Again, just follow up with everyone's comments. It's great to recognize everyone's efforts. You know, we talked about the custodial staff, HR, our principals. Y'all have been outstanding and rightfully recognized for the hard work that you do. So congratulations. Stay safe, and let's stay the course and keep doing the best job we can under these conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Cuellar. Mr. Kennedy?
Special message to all the custodians out there. Now more than ever, we are very grateful for the hard work that you put in. None of us would feel safe coming to work, coming to our facilities if it wasn't for you and for everything that you're doing. So thank you very much. And of course, to our principals, thank you. You're providing valuable leadership during this time for all the teachers and staff members that we have. And for parents of children with dyslexia, I want to know that Weslaco ISD is thinking about you. We have resources to care for your children. And if you're a parent and you suspect that your children might have dyslexia, please contact our central office. That way we can get them tested and get them the right education that they need.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. We'll continue on to item 11, public comments. We don't have any public comments tonight. Item 12, superintendent's report. Dr. Canales, we will begin with a tribute to Dr. Vera, correct?
Yes, sir. We're going to begin with the tribute, and we have some special guests. Mr. Robledo will be leading us through this part of the agenda. Mr. Robledo.
Mr. Robledo.
Thank you very much. Will I be able to present, Dr. Canales? Am I ready for that? I believe so. Well, Dr. De Vera, we want to continue to honor you and with these special tributes that are going out. After 53 years in education, you got a meeting here tonight and one more in November. And we might have another one between now and then as well, who knows. But we do want to start off tonight's tribute for you as we say goodbye, we say farewell after 53 years with a short video. We're going to look back on your career. So let me find this video and then we will go. Can y'all see that? I believe so. Yes, thank you. And I will play this now.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and we're not done. We still have more there in the boardroom. We do have a couple of guests who would like to say a few words, and I'd like to introduce Hidalgo County Precinct 1 Commissioner David Fuentes.
Where do you, Carlos, where do you want him to?
From the podium.
Right in front of the podium there. Mr. Fuentes.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and all board members, most especially Dr. Rivera today. I did not know how good a football player you were. When we did this resolution on September 29th at Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, Judge Cortez was very adamant that you were one of the best football players that he had ever been around. And he certainly wanted to pass along his congratulations and recognition for you, and we're very, very thankful for that. So on behalf of myself and all of the commissioners in Hidalgo County and all of my staff at Precinct 1, we did a resolution in your honor, Dr. Rivera, at our last Commissioners Court meeting, and I'd like to read that resolution here today for you. Whereas Dr. Richard Rivera is being honored for his exceptional work and dedication towards education after serving with distinction and integrity for the last 53 years throughout his career with Weslaco ISD. And whereas Rivera first joined Weslaco ISD in 1967 as a classroom teacher and a coach, in 1974, Rivera became principal at Mary Ho Junior High, serving for 5 years. In 1979, he became principal at Weslaco High School and held that position for 17 years before becoming superintendent in 1996. And whereas, being a lifelong learner himself, Dr. Rivera returned to school and earned his doctorate degree in 2008. Throughout these years of his contribution towards education, Rivera was named Region 1 Superintendent of the Year in 2003 and 2007. He was also named Administrator of the Year by the Texas Classroom Teachers Association and received the Exemplary Superintendent Award from the University of Texas at Austin. And whereas, serving as superintendent for 14 years, Dr. Rivera transformed Weslaco ISD, improving state test scores, upgrading facilities, and expanding student programs, earning the distinction of recognized school district from the Texas Education Agency for 12 out of the 14 years of his tenure. And whereas Dr. Rivera retired as a superintendent for Weslaco ISD in 2010 and returned to serve on the Weslaco ISD School Board in 2012, where he helped set policy that continues to impact the lives of Weslaco students and staff today. He is now concluding his 8-year stint on the board and a lifetime of service to the community of Weslaco ISD. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Dr. Richard Rivera for his outstanding service, dedication, and commitment during his 53 years of service to Weslaco ISD and community, and on this day wishes him a long, healthy, and fruitful retirement. Approved this 29th day of September 2020. So Dr. Rivera, I've had the great privilege of being a student there at Weslaco High School when you were a principal, as a teacher when you were a superintendent, and also serving alongside you at the school board here in Weslaco. And I can definitely say, sir, that it's been an honor to be all three of those things. You have shown how education can change the world, how it can open doors and change the lives of boys and girls. And there are so many things that you have done in your lifetime that I'm sure that you will be rewarded for many, many years to come. Again, on behalf of Hidalgo County, the Commissioners Court, we wanted to present you this resolution in your honor. And we also wanted to give you an Hidalgo County Precinct 1 flag to take with you, sir.
Thank you.
And we still have one more presentation, correct, Carlos?
We do. We have actually a few more. Armando Martinez, State Representative Armando Martinez.
Hello and good evening. What an honor to be able to present this evening. Such a wonderful man who has a great legacy. And I can always say that there's 3 reasons for success in my life, and that's God, my family, and my teachers. And Dr. Rivera, thank you so much for being a part of my educational career and a graduate and a proud graduate of WISD. I'm a proud product of WISD, and I'm so honored to have been there in 1994 when you were a principal and graduated from Weslaco High, which was the only school at that time. And today we are Panthers and Wildcats. So on behalf of the state of Texas and the Texas House of Representatives, we have a resolution in your honor, and it reads as follows. Whereas Dr. Richard Rivera is stepping down from the school board of the Weslaco Independent School District in 2020, drawing to a close more than half a century of service to the district. And whereas Dr. Rivera began his career with Weslaco ISD as a teacher and coach in 1967, and in 1974, he was appointed a principal of Mary Hogue Junior High School. He went on to become the principal of Weslaco High School, serving for 17 years until 1996, when he became the district superintendent. Under his leadership, Weslaco ISD improved test scores, expanded student programs, earning the Texas Education Agency's recognized school district, and designated to 12 of his 14 years as superintendent. And whereas during a period of rapid growth, Dr. Rivera oversaw the establishment of a new high school, an aquatic center, a career and technical educational complex, a new middle school, and several new elementary schools, he helped the district's athletic programs become some of the most competitive in the state. And during his tenure, numerous improvements were made to Bobby Lackey Stadium, making it one of the premier venues for athletic events in the Rio Grande Valley. Along the way, he also continued his education, earning a doctoral degree in 2008. And whereas after retiring as superintendent, Dr. Rivera was elected to the school board in 2012, and he has since played a key role in setting policies that have greatly impacted the lives of Weslaco students and staff. And his many accolades, including being named Region 1 Superintendent of the Year in 2003 and 2007, being honored as the Administrator of the Year by the Texas Classroom Teachers Association, and receiving the Exemplary Superintendent Award from the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em. And whereas Dr. Rivera's dedication and professionalism have benefited generations of Weslaco students, including myself, and earned him the respect and admiration of his colleagues, and he may indeed reflect the pride of his significant contributions, and now therefore be it resolved that Dr. Richard Rivera be congratulated on his retirement from the Weslaco Independent School Board, and that he be extended sincere best wishes for continued happiness, signed by your state representative of District 39, Armando Mando Martinez. And that's not all. We also have a flag that we flew over the Texas Capitol in your honor, Dr. Rivera. And this flag was flown in recognition for your unselfish service to our students and the education community. May God bless you, and may God bless Texas.
Dr. Rivera, you want to go down there, take a picture with both of us?
Yes. With David.
Mr. Fuentes and Mr. Mando Martinez, thank you for being here tonight and honoring Dr. Rivera. We appreciate, of course, everybody appreciates everything Dr. Rivera has done for the district. So thank you again for being here.
Mr. Nieto, I do have a couple of more acknowledgements that are coming in.
Okay.
So I will take control of the screen here. Let's see here.
Can I just say just a few words?
Yes, sir.
But I'll kind of wait till
Of course.
maybe next month, because they're 53 years, and really it was a team effort. Everyone around me, from teachers, administrators, my mother, my wife, my kids, they were all supportive. And there were long hours during this time, but the support was there. But again, everything is a team effort. In education, I've always said that it's like a puzzle, and every single part needs to fit that puzzle for us to be successful, from administrators, principals, the school board, maintenance, teachers, counselors, librarians, aides, secretaries, maintenance. I think I don't want to miss anyone, security and everyone else, but it's a team effort. And in this puzzle, it's a big puzzle, and every part needs to fit for it to run successful. And I was blessed by God during these 53 years that everything was able to fit. And there are no words. I'm just a simple man that was able to survive 53 years. I gave it my best. Mistakes were made. There regrets. No one is perfect, but I did my best. And again, God blessed me with all the wonderful people around me to be able to do what I did during these 53 years. But again, it was a team effort. Everyone, like in football, everyone has to do their part. In a district, everyone did their part, and we were able to be successful again. So thank you to everyone that came across my life during these 53 years. And I appreciate and I love everyone. And hopefully, and I know that we did a lot during this time, but it has to continue getting better. And I know with the leadership we have now, with the board, with the commitment, the district is going to continue to become better and second to no one. So again, thank you for these wonderful 53 years. And again, I appreciate and care and love everyone that came across during this time in my life. Thank you.
Okay, Carlos, I think you had a couple of more items.
Yes, I do. Also, Dr. David, I have a letter here we have two U.S. congressmen out of Weslaco, the way our district is divided. And this is from Vicente Gonzalez, member of Congress. Dear Dr. Rivera, congratulations on the announcement of your retirement. And thank you for the 53 years that you spent transforming the Weslaco Independent School District into the well-respected organization with high academic standards that it is now. In your 53-year career, you have given the students of WISD the tools to have a bright future through academics, athletics, and extracurricular activities. I thank you tremendously for the hard work and service you have given back to Weslaco. Please accept this U.S. flag, which was flown over the Capitol, as a token of my appreciation. Please know that I and many Americans are proud of you, and I wish you the very best. Sincerely, Vicente Gonzalez, Member of Congress.
Is that the final one, Carlos? Any final comments, Dr. Canales?
No, just 53 amazing years, Dr. Rivera. The countless stories I have heard about your leadership. And we have one more tribute, so I'll save in November. So I hope you'll be at the board meeting because that's the phase 3 of us, the team, wanting to honor you for unselfishly giving to so many for so many years. So stay tuned for November.
Okay.
And I guess, Dr. Rivera, I've been part of those 53 years because in 1967, I actually was a 7th grade football player for Dr. Rivera. Of course, then I had the opportunity. He hired me as a college tutor. He hired me as assistant principal. He hired me as a principal. So during those 53 years, I have been in close contact with Dr. Rivera. So, you know, quite an honor, right? Of course, each board member will have an opportunity later on to thank Dr. Rivera at the next board meeting, correct? But again, thank you for everything you've done, not only for me, but for my family. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we'll continue. Dr. Canales on the superintendent's report. Or any final comments, Dr. Rivera?
No.
You're fine? Okay. COVID-19, Dr. Canales?
Okay, we'll move on with the superintendent's report and the presentation's coming up. Just an update of where we are with on-campus student attendance and teachers, volunteers during the pandemic. Our average student count, and remember we began on 9/30/2020, September 30th, 2020, with students with poor connectivity on campuses. We have a total of 251 elementary students average for the days so far, and 28 secondary students for a total of, 279 students attending on average every single day at one of our campuses. We did ask for teacher volunteers. We have on average 31 teacher volunteers. Our enrollment is 16,677. That 279 represents 1.7%. Of children without connectivity, initially when we asked this with the registration process, which began in early August, we have about 2,800 who have said that they had troubles with connectivity. So if you look at that 279 in relation to the 2,800 who indicated some problems with connectivity, that's about 11% of that group attending. On the next slide for COVID-19, we have started transportation services. This slide shows how many students we have riding the bus for each campus level in the morning and the afternoon. The total for the morning is 93. For the afternoon, it's 102. I want to give a big affirmation to our transportation department. There is a video. I know that there's no sound in it, but I invite everybody to look at the videos that have gone out through social media. The videos have existed for some time now, but we're waiting at the right time to release them. And this last week, Mr. Robledo called and said, Dr. Canales, can we release all the videos? So, and this one you have Mr. Lupe Garcia and his staff showing you what we do to make sure that we're disinfecting our buses, you know, as we take children to and from school. And we'll continue doing this. They've been well trained and committed to it. So in addition to that, safety measures that we've taken, again, we do have a video showing the different safety measures. We thank the entire team for making sure that we're putting plexiglasses where they're needed. Board of Trustees, you've approved the orders of teacher plexiglasses for students, desk shields, and a lot more. So again, invite you, Board of Trustees, and anybody listening to this meeting to follow our social media. Stay tuned to what Weslaco ISD is doing to make sure that we have the highest safety measures in place. And then, of course, all our staff has been trained and embraced the training and is committed to safety and security to all. So, and we do follow the CDC guidelines at all times. I invite you to also look at that video in your time. And then we have the disinfecting video. Our custodial staff has been well trained in this also. And this video itself also just shows, you know, what it is that we do, what we use, how we do it to make sure that we're creating the safest environment possible. in all our schools and all our facilities. So that concludes the COVID-19. It's just information about what we're doing differently, that we've been trained, and we have released videos on what that looks like.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. And you said that those would be placed on our social media website?
And we will, and I don't know if they're on the internet yet. I have not looked. Mr. Robledo, are they on our website as well?
Correct.
They are.
They have been released. They were all released last week on all our social media platforms.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on the COVID-19? All right, let's continue with the Employee Wellness Resource Center. Dr. Canales?
Mrs. Brewer and her team, all our counselors. We are looking at Employee Wellness Resource Center. We do have one established. Mrs. Brewer, will you please tell us a little bit more about this?
Good evening, Mr. Nieto, members of the board. We started a multi-tiered systems of support team at Weslaco ISD, where we join forces, our counselors and our nurses, teachers, administrators. We have a team, an MTSS team at each of our campuses, and we meet with that team, and this provides staff an opportunity to discuss any concerns that they may have. We want to make sure that we make staff feel valued and know that we're here to provide support that they need so that they can be successful in the classroom. These MTSS systems of support provide staff an opportunity to share their concerns. Administration's able to secure like a needs assessment to make sure what is happening at the campuses and ensure that our staff feel safe. It's also a platform for staff to promote wellness in an effort to promote school wellness across the board. We're working very hard. This is the first time we have an MTSS team. We're working closely with Melva Segura at HR. Anytime there's a concern where a staff member may feel unsafe or needs additional resources, Ms. Segura refers the staff member to us, and we provide additional resources for them. Another thing that we've also done is we've created an Educator Wellness Resource Center that is currently displayed in the HR website. This is a various resources that we've put together to provide staff additional support in the area of mental health. There is information on suicide, on trauma, anxiety, depression. We want to make sure that our staff has the resources that they need so that they can be successful. We're working very closely with principals and making sure that our principals are referring staff members to us that need that extra help. And so that together we can move forward. And we've learned as much as we're still learning from this COVID experience, but together we're moving forward and finding the support and resources that our staff members need to continue to move forward and get prepared in an effort to welcome our students.
Thank you, Mrs. Brewer, for the information. Mr. Lopez, any comments on this?
No, I just thank Dr. Canales and Norma and all staff that are involved in this. I think it's a very important resource to have to assist our teachers that are feeling crunched, that are feeling a little down. And if there's anything the board can do to assist, please let us know.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
I concur with Mr. Lopez. I think it's a good idea. Have a lot of teachers taken advantage of this program?
We've had teachers that have been provided services, and we continue to get more referrals on a daily basis. Ms. Melva Segura sends us the information, and we provide the service to the staff. All of our counselors are well aware of the services that are out there. They've been provided training to make sure that they meet not only the needs of the students, but of our staff, our teachers and staff.
Question, and this follow-up question would be, if a teacher wants to take advantage of, say they need some counseling, that will be kept confidential, is that right?
Yes, sir. All of the counseling, all of those services are confidential. We also do a very good job of referring and securing services for staff that they may need out in the community. We've got our mental health agencies that you all approve every year at the beginning, like in August. And these are licensed professional counselors that are situated in our community that are also available to provide services to our staff.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brewer, for this valuable information. We'll continue with bilingual evaluation and exceptions requirement. Dr. Canales?
Hey, Board of Trustees, this is a requirement. Mr. Trevino will be leading us through this piece, and I believe Dr. Lopez as well, Carolina Lopez.
Dr. Canales, Board President, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to present on the English learner evaluation. As Dr. Canales mentioned, this is a state requirement. Out of our 16,674 students that are enrolled in WISD, 4,273 are English learners, which basically means that their first language was not English. As you can tell by our slide there, 99% of them, their first language was Spanish. We do have 1% of our students that are English learners, that their first language was Chinese, Vietnamese, Philippine, Urdu, and also French. On our next slide, we actually share with you here that these English learners are monitored in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year, and also every 6 weeks. We monitor their academic progress, their placement interventions, just ensure that they are being successful. And those students that meet the requirements for exiting the program because they've passed the STAR exam, there are other requirements for them to exit the program. That means that they've been successful through the program. You can see the breakdown here below. We are required under state statute to monitor these students for 2 years. And under the federal government, we monitor these students up to 5 years. And you see the breakdown there, 75 students the first year, and you can see the rest of the numbers there. I want you to kind of keep those students in mind because a slide that's coming up ahead shows how successful they are. This is the academic progress of our English learners throughout the years. We don't have any data from this past year because, as you remember, Governor Abbott suspended STAR and EOC. What I want to leave in your heart about this data that's here is that we're on an upward trajectory. 2017, 2018, 2019, we showed a gain, significant gains across the grade levels, across the subjects. And so what do we attribute that to? Staff development, focus, providing teachers the resources that they need. On our next slide, this is just a reminder of our monitored year students. Look at the data that's here. These students that have gone through our program are actually being much more successful than the regular population, right? These students are bilingual, and there's a lot of power in being bilingual. So look at the data. Between 80 and 100% is what these students are scoring. So that is to be commended. On our next slide, this is something we're very happy and proud about. The TELPAS, or the Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System, required by the federal government state to assess our English learners every single year that they're progressing with respect to English proficiency. So from a beginner all the way to an advanced high. And in the spring of 2019, what you see in green, it signifies the schools that actually met that requirement, or that 36% threshold. The TEA was saying 36% of your students have to show that growth. So in 2019, those that are in green are the schools that actually met the requirement. Look at 2020. Wow, we've done some great gains. So in 2020, we have a lot more green, right? So that basically means that our campuses, more of our students are actually accomplishing that language proficiency from year over year. So great things are happening there. On the following page, in 2019-2020, we had to submit to TEA a bilingual education exception. You may know the word as a waiver. We submitted an exception, which basically means we had 78 teachers. They're highly qualified. Let's not misunderstand that. They are highly qualified teachers, but we had 78 teachers that we submitted because they were teaching our English learners, and they didn't have those additional bilingual certification. And as a result of that, 10% of our $2 million that we received from the state has to go through to staff development, and you'll see that in the next slide. And one important point on this slide, and that although our teachers may not be fully certified bilingual, those 78, they provided the cognitive, linguistic, and affective support that our English learners truly need. On the following page, this is just an overview of the training that we provided in 2019-2020. And then finally, our final slide here is just to let the board know that we will be submitting another waiver or an exception to TEA. Our number has gone down. 3 years ago, we had 94 teachers, last year 78, and now we're down to 71. We want to continue that trend to get our teachers fully bilingually certified. So 71 teachers we're submitting this year, and below is all the training that has been done. So great things are happening. If anything we leave with you tonight is that we're on an upward trajectory. Our goal is to close the gap, regardless of the pandemic. We want to close that gap. So any questions, feel free to reach out. We're here to serve you.
One question, Mr. Trevino or Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Out of those 71 teachers, are they expected to be fully certified in bilingual or ESL by the end of the year, or by when?
I'll let HR respond to that question there.
Mr. Segura?
Yes, sir. Mr. Elias Trevino and his department do provide great services in the form of tutorial and any material available to assist them in challenging the exam. It is a very rigorous exam, but we are making great strides, as Mr. Trevino has mentioned. The numbers have decreased, and TA does allow us for this exception waiver to go ahead and apply for permits for each of these individuals that are willing to attempt and challenge the exam.
So how long?
It is a 1-year waiver, sir.
Okay. So it's a 1-year waiver, but when is it required to be certified? By when?
Normally they apply at the beginning of the school year, and it covers them all the way to the end of the school year as well. So it's a 1 year from the day that they apply.
So just for clarity.
Yeah, and TEA requires from us to submit the number of teachers, not necessarily their names. So we're working towards ensuring that these teachers get certified. So we're really excited about some of the trainings that are coming up for them. And Dr. Lopez is also on here, but again, we want to provide them the best training so that they do get certified. It's not an easy exam. They actually have to pass 2 exams, and one of them requires to read, write, listen, and speak also fluently in Spanish. So it's not an easy exam, but our teachers are being successful.
Yeah, so for clarification, so individuals who do not pass the bilingual certification exam this year, we will have to apply for a waiver for them next year. Do they only have 1 year?
And again,
That's correct.
What is the timeline for these teachers that are not fully certified? How long do they have to get their certification in bilingual? I know it's a waiver for a year. So are we asking those teachers that by next year they should be already fully certified, or are we giving them like year by year?
It is 1 year from the date that they apply for the permit, Mr. Nieto. So you're correct. It's 1 year expectation that they attempt, challenge, and pass the exam. If they do not, then we find additional staff within the campus to service the student needs.
That was going to be my next question. Okay, thank you. Anything else on this topic, Dr. Canales?
No, sir.
Okay. Any questions on this bilingual, Dr. Jaime?
Yes, I don't know if the answer or the question was really answered or not, but so has TEA said at some point there's not going to be an option for a waiver? We keep filing waivers, 1 year waivers. Is that kind of, Mr. Nieto, what you were kind of trying to get at?
Correct.
Is at some point, is there not going to be an option for a
Yeah,
waiver for a particular
TEA. I apologize. TEA has not given such a thing, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, because they understand that the exams are very difficult. They understand that when we submit to TEA for this exception, they just require the number of teachers that are under the exception, not their names. And so the TEA is basically giving them some help there, so that it is a yearly thing, and we want our teachers to actually be successful every year, but it is a difficult test. And as Mr. Nieto, as you mentioned, it is a year after year exception. But as you can see, our numbers have been going down. We went from 94 down to 71. Our goal is, of course, to be at 0. Any new teachers that are coming in, when positions become available, they must be bilingual certified. So that will curtail having to add those type of persons to accept.
Okay. And good presentation. One more question. Out of those 71, they're all English teachers? Is that correct? Mr. Trevino?
Yeah, I believe Mr. Trevino left the meeting, Mr. Nieto, but we do have elementary teachers in the elementary levels. We do have some at the middle school, high school. Those are English teachers. Okay, but elementary can be anybody serving in the reading, writing sections. And as Mr. Trevino mentioned, the state TA does offer this because they acknowledge that this is a very rigorous exam. And just to clarify, this is something that every district in the state of Texas is participating in and taking advantage of. There is a shortage of bilingually certified. It's a very challenging exam. And so Mr. Trevino and his department are doing a great job in assisting these educators with the material and the tutoring that they need to make sure that they're successful when they attempt it.
Okay. And one more question. So I'm assuming that if they have a waiver for this year, then the following year, their English teachers, they won't be able to teach English, they have to teach another subject area?
That is my understanding. We did change our hiring practice, if you recall, I believe maybe 2-3 years ago when this came into place. That is why we make it strictly required that any new person coming in for that specific core subject area must be ESL bilingual certified in the elementary. So we have been able to meet the needs with the current staff that we have. And as we mentioned, if for some reason somebody signs up for the permit, they don't, their time expires and they do not successfully pass the exam, we do have enough bilingually certified within the district to make changes to make sure that all students are served.
Okay. Mr. Gonzalez, any questions on bilingual? Okay, let's continue. Thank you for the presentation, Dr. Canales and Mr. Trevino and Mrs. Segura. Grants and awards. The first one is the 2020 COPS Office School Violence Prevention Program. Dr. Canales.
We're excited about this grant. It was led by our Weslaco Police Department, and Weslaco ISD is a partner in this. Mr. De Rosa helped out. So Mr. De La Rosa.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Nieto, Dr. Canales, members of the board. I'm very, very pleased to announce that the Weslaco ISD and the Weslaco Police Department was awarded the School Violence Prevention Program grant through the United States Department of Justice. This is otherwise known as the COPS grant. So our partnership and collaboration with the Weslaco Police Department was key. This grant is open to school districts across the entire United States. And Weslaco Police Department applied for this grant on our behalf because, again, it is a collaborative effort. And so we're very, very fortunate and we're very, very excited to report that we were selected to receive this grant of $330,450. And what we're going to do with this grant, next slide, please. We will be the Weslaco PD through this grant will be purchasing approximately 168 Trunking compliant portable radios. These radios will be assigned to campus administrators, security personnel, and school resource officers. They will run off the regional radio system, which is the same system that Weslaco Police Department, the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, Texas DPS, a lot of other law enforcement and fire department systems operate on. One of the advantages of these radios is that cross-campus channels will allow for the direct communication between campuses, so different campuses can talk to each other, and even better, In emergency situations, campus admin, security personnel, school resource officers will be able to communicate directly with police and fire departments here locally. So that's going to greatly improve our safety and security. I'd like to send a special shout out of thanks to Chief Joel Rivera and Assistant Chief Robert Lopez for their collaboration and dedication to the safety and security of the Weslaco ISD students and staff. And Chief Rivera is present as well. Chief, if you'd like to say a couple words on this.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, board members. Really, I just kind of wanted to give an overview of how our application for this grant came about. In 2018, as you know, I was appointed Chief of Police for the city of Weslaco and given a set of priorities. Amongst the priorities that were given to me was prevention of school violence. One of our more vulnerable populations is the schools. And so we sought out to create the partnership, and thanks to the school board and the city commission that was fruitful. And so we immediately went to work. I assigned a team of officers, crime prevention specialists, to do a complete threat assessment of all the schools. Thereafter, we put school resource officers in schools. Those guys reported back to us, and together with the school district, Mr. Da Rosa and the superintendent, we developed a list of priorities. Amongst those priorities is communications. Communications is any critical incident is always the single point of failure, the biggest obstacle to overcome to effective response. And so we identified that as the priority. The COPS program put out this grant, and we fell back to our list of priorities. So we applied for the grant through the agency, and the grant does allow for the purchase of radios, and I think that's a big resource for us. We continue to look forward to this collaborative effort to secure the safety and security of our students, our faculty, the staff out there. I think it's important to note that this is multifaceted, in that it helps you guys in daily operations. It helps us in emergency response operations outside anything at the school, because you guys are our biggest partner. And so this is a win-win-win for everybody. And so this is a big deal. So once again, I really just wanted to thank you guys for the effort and for you guys prioritizing the safety and security of our students, faculty, and staff.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera and Mr. De La Rosa. I know a lot of times several of the board members talk about safety. Any comments there, Mr. Lopez, on this particular?
It's a wonderful project and a grant and awards. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. It just increases the safety, the communication, the speed of communication, and it makes our building safer. And of course, our students are number one in this district, and it's we cannot thank all of the personnel that were involved in making this happen. This is great.
Thank you. Coach Cuellar, any comments on this violence prevention program?
Absolutely. Anything that will increase the security is very welcome, and we're very appreciative of everybody's efforts. And it pleases me to know that we're taking these measures, and I mean, I can't thank y'all enough for this opportunity, and look forward to the school year with the safety measures in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach Cuellar. We'll continue with the Hidalgo County CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Funding Match. Dr. Canales?
And Board Trustees, we're also happy for a partnership with Hidalgo County. Recently, Hidalgo County, we did draft a letter, Mr. Andres Sanchez and I, and sent it to Hidalgo County Board of Trustees. We've invested lots of money on hotspots and mice and headsets for our students, document cameras for our teachers through the pandemic. I'm proud to share that Hidalgo County did approve, in accordance with the CARES Act, Coronavirus Relief Fund, $375,879.94 to be reimbursed to our school district. So it's a 25% match of what we've spent. So that's great news. In addition to that, our county did approve the Wi-Fi project, the public Wi-Fi project, which means 3 towers in Weslaco ISD to help serve communities that don't have access to Wi-Fi. And there will be placed at Kleckler-Held Elementary School, Silva Elementary School, and Mary Hogue Middle School in the near future. So proud of the partnerships and making a difference for children.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, any comments on this particular program?
Do we know what the radius is going to be for providing Wi-Fi access?
I'm sorry,
Has the county said what the radius will be, the Wi-Fi radius from the towers?
yes, they have, and Mr. Martinez has served in that committee.
Basically, the towers are going to communicate and will approximately hit about 7,500 students.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Dr. Jaime, any comments on this program?
No, thank you. Thank you for collaboration with the county and all these projects. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
No, again, thanks for all of y'all, working. I know it comes to us and then it goes to the county, but just a collaboration that we have with our city and with our precinct 1. This is great. The COPS grant, this CARES Act, and then helping 7,500 students that otherwise wouldn't have free Wi-Fi, and now they'll be able to have it. And as this pandemic goes, they'll have the opportunity to at least log on and get that, even though we spent quite a bit of money on hotspots, but like everything else, it doesn't always work. So this is great. Kudos to everybody that took part in it, and thank you again.
And again, Dr. Canales, on you and of course your staff working with, like Mr. Gonzalez mentioned, with the city commissioner and of course the city working together in the partnership really helps not only our district, but the whole city of Weslaco. So again, thank you. Next item on the agenda on the superintendent's report, insurance. Dr. Canales.
Mr. De Rosa has a couple slides to share with you the latest, greatest when it comes to our employee benefit program.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Canales. Yeah, this is the standard insurance slide that we present every month. Except our fiscal year runs from September through August. So this is the first month of the fiscal year. So there's really not much to report. As far as claims go, last year at the first month, we were at a little over $857,000 in medical claims. This year, we're at just a little over $403,000, which is approximately $453,700 less. Prescription drug costs, last September, we're at $218,451. This year, we ran at $452,991.56, so about a $235,000 increase. Fixed costs last September, they were at $4,430 versus this month we're at little over $221,000 approximately. That will even out as if you recall, we weren't charged stop loss premiums last September, so that explains the discrepancy. So overall, last year through September, we're just a little over $1 million. Again, this year we're at just over a little $1 million, approximately exactly $2,715 less. So again, we're pretty much even. We are keeping an eye on the prescription drug costs because as we trend has seen that they've been increasing over the last several months. So we'll keep an eye on that, but still too early really to forecast anything. The next slide is our self-funded workers' compensation. Again, we're running on a fiscal year, so we have data to report through September. Last year, we're at 5 claims versus this year at 8. Last September, we paid $870 with incurred expenses of just a little over $39,000. For the month of September, we haven't paid anything yet, and for the 8 claims that we've had, we've only reserved or incurred $4,000. So very, very minor incidents with the workers' comp this month. And that's my report if anybody has any questions.
Dr. Rivera, any questions on the insurance?
No.
Everything good?
Looks like we're on target.
Okay.
Good job.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments on the insurance, Mr. Lopez or Mr. Kennedy or Dr. Jaime? Okay. All right. Let's continue on with consent agenda. I'll give you a minute or so to look at the items and see if any items need to be discussed. I'll begin with Mr. Kennedy.
I have nothing to pull from the consent agenda.
Okay. Dr. Jaime?
I'll pull item U. Just want to get some more information on that.
Item U? Okay. Mr. Gonzalez?
I have none.
Mr. Lopez?
Thank you. No, none.
None? Coach Cuellar?
I have a question on W1.
On W1, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And Dr. Rivera?
None.
None. All right, can I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda except for item U and W1?
I move to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of item U and W1.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy and a second by Mr. Gonzalez to approve the consent agenda except for item U and item W1. All in favor, please say aye when I call your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime? Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, let's discuss item U. It is who had that, Mr. Kennedy, correct? Oh, Dr. Jaime. Approval to amend the student code of conduct to include the use of facial coverings, masks by students during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Can you elaborate on those changes, Dr. Brown?
These are, just according to the CDC, masks are recommended as a simple barrier to help prevent respiratory droplets from traveling into the air and onto other people when the person wearing the mask coughs, sneezes, talks, or raises their voice. So we're adding the requirement for masks to our schools for the students that are back in an effort to make sure that the student is keeping self and others. So we'll be wearing masks in schools. So it's good to be.
Good. I just wanted to clarify that, just I know I've had several questions on the mask requirement, and just wanted to make sure that, everybody is on the same page with the requirement of the mask there. Thank you.
Through our school visits last week, the last 2 weeks, we've seen the students with their masks, and we wear our masks too.
And yeah, definitely, we need to make sure staff is also wearing that mask at all times. Yeah.
All right, and item W1, Wesco High School ban local maintenance fund to purchase band instruments for the high school and middle schools, to pay for repair of instruments and to cover in-district mileage travel for band directors.
Yes, my question is, does that cover all middle schools or only the middle schools that feed Weslaco High School?
Dr. Canales?
Mr. Sanchez or Dr. Garcia, this is coming for y'all because at Weslaco High School.
Mr. Cuellar, it only covers Central Middle School and Big Garza Middle School. The schools that feed to Weslaco High School.
Okay, so my question would be, and I hope it's okay to ask it, what about Weslaco East, Cuellar, and Mary Ho?
They did not submit a budget amendment. They are classifying funds within their own budget. They're not getting extra funds for it themselves. I understand from Mr. Bissett, they need more instruments for the students that are at home that do not have an instrument. But they reclassified their own budget to put it for repairs or purchase of instruments.
Okay, I want to make sure that all our students have whatever they need to be able to do, participate in the activities that they're committed to. So if there's anything that they need, let us know, and we just want to make sure that they have what they need. But other than that, thank you very much.
And that's a good point, Coach Cuellar, but I believe they have that, Andres, correct me if I'm wrong, do they have that budget in their budget, or they're just amending to have available money to purchase those items?
Yes, so they're amending money. They're taking money from supplies that we had initially budgeted for the band. And the function 36, they put it on 11 for instruments for the function. Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, given that, do the schools that I'm asking about have that opportunity also to amend if or have they already done so?
Yes, they do. And we will follow up with Mr. Bester and Weslaco East High School to see what they need for Mary Hall and for Coya Middle School.
Okay. As long as they have what they need.
Yes. Yeah. We'll follow up with them.
Yeah, we will follow up and provide some information and the board update, Mr. Cuellar. And,
okay, thank you very much.
We'll work with Mr. Bissett on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Coach Ware.
I move to approve items U and W1.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy, second by Mr. Gonzalez to approve item U and W1. I'll take a vote at this time. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's continue on to discussion items. Item 15A, interim financial report for the 1 month ended September 30th, 2020. Dr. Canales?
Board of Trustees, this is a no action item, and Mr. Sanchez will lead us through this presentation. Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, Dr. Canales, Mr. Rico, members of the board, Mr. Nieto, sorry, members of the board, for September, for the 1 month ended September 30, 2020, in the general fund, from 175,776,000 budgeted, we received 18,851,082. That represents 10.72%. This is the first month, so far so good on the revenues. And on the expenditures, out of 176,536,000, we've only expended or encumbered 8,713,000, which represents almost 5%. But right now it's the start, so we're doing well on what we have. Do you have any questions on this quick report?
Andres, yes, one question.
Yes, sir.
Your biggest budget is 11.
Yes, sir.
Million. Have you compared the enrollment in the ADA to see how you are compared to this amount?
Right now, the numbers, we don't have all the numbers. So right now, we're 1 month behind on it, Dr. Rivera. We're trying to make sure that all the ADA is correctly taken. But so far, we're well. We're doing good on the ADA.
Okay, but does it match the 11? Are you almost, because it's $93 million. So does the ADA right now, the enrollment, does it look like we're going to go ahead and be around that amount?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We just need to follow up on the attendance of the children. But yes, we do have enough enrollment so far to go with it.
Okay.
Any other questions on this particular item? All right, we'll continue with item B, acknowledgement of Hidalgo County Tax Office Collection Report for September 2020, current taxes and delinquent taxes. Dr. Canales.
Again, Board of Trustees, this is a no action item, and Mr. Sanchez will highlight some key points on this one.
Yes, for the September report on tax collections from the county, there are no current taxes collected. All the taxes are delinquent. And of a levy of $4,182,999, we received collections of $208,242, and that represents 4.98%. The year before, 2019-20, we collected 2.55% for September. So we are 2.43% higher than last year. So we're doing well. Our budget for tax collections for delinquent levy is only 10%. So we're almost at half of the budget in the first month. So far we're doing good.
Dr. Rivera, any comments on this one?
No, it looks on target. Looks okay.
Okay. Any other comments by any of the other board members?
Fantastic.
All right. Let's continue with item C. Presentation of annual tax collection for fiscal year 2019-2020, September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020 by the Hidalgo County Tax Office. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, this report will be presented by Mr. Paul Vidal, Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector. No action is required.
Well, good evening, Mr. President, board members. It's been exciting. I've been here since 5 o'clock waiting for this moment, so excited. I want to congratulate you for everything you do for the districts. I was looking at all the county tax rates, and the Weslaco School District, for all the school districts that I collect in the county, you have the lowest tax rates, and you're still able to do what you do for our children. So congratulations. If you look at the report that is in front of you, I think it's on page number 4. That's the first report that I have. It consists of the current, delinquent, and rollback taxes, base amount, penalties, and interest and attorney fees. A total collected for 2019-2020 Weslaco ISD $25,776,544.56. The disbursements, attorney fees, commissions, and costs, court orders consist of the total disbursed to your district of $25,776,544.56. If you look at the next page, I'm going to give you the page, which is page number 13. I believe that's the page number 13. On page number 13, we have the breakdown of the current collections. For the current collections to date, for 2018, 2019, on the current collections to date, we collected $24.9 million in base amount, and for the 2019, 2020, $24.037 million. Last year's percentage of collection was 95.24. This year's collections is 95.38. If you look at the next page, which is page 14, this is just a breakdown of the 5-year comparison. So if you look at 2015, the percentage of collection was 94.49, 2016, 94.78, 2017, 95.40, 2018 is 95.24, and 2019, 95.38. That's pretty much concludes my report. The next item is the delinquent report. I see Mr. Iram Gutierrez there, and the rest is just the reporting that consists of this presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to.
And before Mr. Gutierrez begins, Mr. Vidal, what was the comment that you made that Weslaco is the lowest tax rate, correct? You mentioned that?
Definitely. I collect for 15 school districts in the whole county, and the Weslaco School District has the lowest tax rate in for every school district. So that I'm proud of that, because I've been with the county since 1985. So I used to go to the meetings every time, and I always see that you have the lowest tax rates, and then I see all the accomplishments that you do with the students that you have. And my brother lives there, my mother lives next door there too. So I'm very, very happy of what's happening in Weslaco ISD.
Thank you. And I know most of the board members have always been aware that they want the lowest tax rate. And I know Mr. Kennedy mentioned it at one of the board meetings that Weslaco continues to have the lowest tax rate. And I'd like to mention, Mr. Villarreal, that even with that rate, we still do very well in Weslaco.
Very well. I just want to finalize by saying that this was a very challenging year for us as the county tax assessor's office. We have 8 offices throughout the county. We didn't close all the offices at one time, so we could have offices throughout the county. So it was challenging, but as you can see, 95.38%, it's great. I want to commend my chief deputy, which is Eva Mireles, my managers, my supervisors, my staff. I have 175 people that we never closed our offices. So I feel like a first responder when it comes to revenues for schools, cities, and county. And this is a product of our staff. And of course, thanking first of all, I want to thank the taxpayers from Weslaco ISD. They called us, we were able to work with them, payments and things like that. I know that this challenging COVID-19 is hard for all of us, but the residents, they know that when they bring in or they pay their taxes, they're actually providing services for our district, and education is great for our kids, our future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villarreal, for the presentation. We'll continue with item D, presentation by Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Moth LLP, delinquent tax attorneys firm, of the delinquent tax collection activity report for the period from September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, no action is required for this item, and the presentation will be led by Mr. Iram A. Gutierrez. Mr. Gutierrez, I believe
Thank you, Dr. Canales. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here before you, President Nieto, and members of the board, and Dr. Canales. I'm here to present you with your fiscal collection report, that being 2019-2020. But first of all, I would like to congratulate and thank Dr. Rivera for all his years of services at Weslaco ISD. Personally, I have known Dr. Rivera as an administrator and board member at Weslaco ISD, and I know he has been a tremendous asset to the school district. It has been an honor knowing you, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
First of all, our collection program for Weslaco ISD is designed with working with the taxpayers to collect the delinquent taxes. To that goal, we have contacted by phone over 7,700, made 7,700 phone contact with delinquent taxpayers. We have also mailed over 8,000 delinquent notices to taxpayers. We also send specialized notices from our office here in the Valley. We also conduct property inspections. During this period, we've conducted 48 property inspections. Sometimes when we contact the taxpayer, they cannot pay the full amount. So we do enter into payment agreements with the taxpayers. During this period, we've entered into 80 payment agreements involving over $126,000 in base tax owed to the school district. When all those efforts don't bear the desired collections, we do proceed to litigation, unfortunately. And during this period, we have filed 125 original petitions and interventions involving over $1,887,000 in base tax owed to the school district. Even during the period of litigation, we still work with the taxpayers. They can still pay in full. They can still enter into payment agreements. But if that does not happen, then we do proceed to tax sales. It's the last thing we do. We try to avoid it, but during this period, we have had tax sales. During this period, we entered into payment agreements involving on 5 properties over $8,775, properties that had been put up for tax sale. 8 properties were struck off. That means that no winning bid was received at auction, and that involved over $77,000 owed to the school district. 15 properties were sold, bringing in over $86,000 in base tax owed to the school district. When a property is not sold at tax sale, the property then is sold at tax resale. During this period, we had a resale involving 11 properties. 6 of those properties were sold, bringing in over $92,000 to the school district. We also represent you in bankruptcy, federal court. During this period, 21 new proofs of claims were filed on behalf of the district involving over $254,000 in base tax owed to the district. We also represent you in audits and appeals, which is a form of getting additional state aid owed to the school district. We filed 3 audits during this period for the 2015, 2016, and 2017 school year. We estimate that these audits will result in an additional $1,519,000 of state aid for Weslaco ISD. Of course, all the activities that we take to help the school district is to collect the taxes to collect the school district taxes. During this period, we collected over $767,000 in base tax owed to the school district, and an additional $355,000 in penalties and interest, for a combined total of $1,123,000 owed to the school district. The last page of the report shows the collections as a percentage of the delinquent tax roll. As you can see, the delinquent tax levy was $3.7 million. Of that, $767,000 were collected, for a collection rate of 20.26%. That concludes my presentation, and I open it up for any questions you may have.
Good job in the presentation, Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Nieto.
Dr. Rivera, any questions?
No questions. Good job, Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Good job, Iram. I know these are hard times and hard times on families, and I know when these properties come before the board, we always make sure that nobody is living on these properties, so we're not putting anybody out on the street. So, again, with these hard times, y'all did really good, and I know we go based off, I think, 20%, Andres. So, kudos to your team in collections. Thank you.
Dr. Jaime.
Thank you.
It's 15%, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
It's 16.
Dr. Jaime.
No, same. Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez, to you and your team.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime.
For your efforts. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you also to our tax collectors, and appreciate the good work you all are doing for us.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Kennedy.
Great work, Hiram. I know it can be challenging right now through what we're going through, but your team is still working hard, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. We're working very hard to work with your taxpayers, and if any taxpayer comes to you, please let them know that we're here to work with them.
Coach Cuellar, final comment?
We appreciate what you're doing. Thank you, and you're doing a good job for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And of course, continue doing well collecting for Weslaco ISD, Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, we continue with item 15, discussion and possible action items. Item A, discussion and possible action to approve an interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Weslaco and the Weslaco Independent School District to share a joint election location for the November 3rd, 2020 election. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Weslaco ISD and the City of Weslaco have contracted election services with the Hidalgo County Elections Administration for the last 6 years pursuant to Texas Education Code. It has been mutually beneficial to the city and the district to hold joint elections as as a cost savings to each entity and as a convenience to our voters. There is an interlocal cooperation agreement that has been reviewed and approved by our school attorney that we are recommending that you approve this evening. And Mr. Garcia, Dr. Garcia is available if you have any more questions.
I move to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Jaime to approve the interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Weslaco and the Weslaco Independent School District to share the joint election location for the November 3rd, 2020 election. Any other discussion? All right, so we'll take a vote at this time. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll continue with item B. Discussion and possible action to contract with the Hidalgo County Elections Administration to conduct the November 3rd, 2020 Weslaco ISD School Board election. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, there's a contract and a cost estimate for conducting the election is attached for your review. The contract has been reviewed and approved by our school attorney. Dr. Garcia is available to answer any questions that you may have
move to
about
approve.
this.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, correct?
Yes.
And a second by Mr. Kennedy. To approve the contract with the Hidalgo County Elections Administration to conduct the November 3rd, 2020 Weslaco ISD School Board election. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye when I call out your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's continue on to item C. Item C will be pulled, correct, Dr. Canales?
Yes.
We're going to pull item C. We'll continue with item D. Discussion and possible action, the board to consider approval of proposal award for voluntary employment insurance benefit products. Number 1, accident. Number 2, cancer. Number 3, disability. Number 4, critical illness. Number 5, hospital indemnity, gap. Number 6, term life and AD&D. And number 7, vision, RFP number 211008. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the district conducted a request for proposals for voluntary employee benefits. Valley Risk Consulting, VRC, the district's employee benefits consultants evaluated the proposed based on coverage, value of benefits, premium, and age band rates versus 3-tier composition rates. VRC presented the finalists per product and presented them to the Employees Benefits Committee. We do have a district-wide Employee Benefits Committee that consists of every campus and department. The committee evaluated the products and their recommendations were made unanimously. Depending on the product, employees will see no premium increases, or in some cases, a premium decrease. So the superintendent, I am recommending that you approve the proposal awards from the following vendors based on the evaluation and recommendation from Valley Risk Consulting and the Weslaco ISD Employee Benefits Committee. So they're listed there: Accident, United Healthcare; Cancer, Colonial Life; Disability, Cigna; Critical Illness, Voya; Hospital Indemnity Gap, United Healthcare; Term Life and AD&D, Lincoln Financial; and Vision, Superior Vision.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Rivera to approve the proposal award for voluntary employee insurance benefit products, accident, cancer, disability, critical illness, hospital indemnity, term life, and ADN vision. Any other discussion? All right, let's take a vote. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
I'm abstaining from this.
You're abstaining from this one, okay. Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Cuellar? Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Let's continue to item E. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider selection of servicing agent or agents for voluntary employment insurance benefit products. 1, for accident, 2, cancer, 3, disability, 4, critical illness, 5, hospital indemnity, which is the gap, 6, term life and AD&D, and 7, vision. RFP number 21.
I move to have our 3 agents that we've had on our other health plans, Tames Financial Group, Ortegon Insurance Group, and Jeff Everett and Associates.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Rivera to consider the selection of servicing agents for voluntary employment insurance benefit products. And Mr. Gonzalez, you said Tames, Ortegon, and
Everett.
And Everett. Any discussion?
That is to share all the voluntary products?
Yeah.
Last year?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, a second by Dr. Rivera. All in favor, please say aye when I call your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving along to item F. Item F is another item that will be pulled, correct, Dr. Canales?
Mr. Nieto, we'd like to pull it.
Okay. Let's continue on with item G. Discussion of possible action for the board to consider approval to delegate to the superintendent the authority to approve the purchase of electrical supplies for emergency lighting system improvements at 6 campuses from approved electric supply vendors from district-approved proposals and/or purchasing cooperative vendors. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, for the 6 campuses, the maintenance and repairs on generators has been a challenge and the systems are not currently working. All generators date back to the construction of the respective campus. The school's original date of construction ranged from 1990 to 1995. The generators are old and in need of replacement. The intent is to hire an engineering firm to design a system to replace the generators with technology that is less expensive to purchase and easier to maintain. The installation of devices will be performed by in-house by Weslaco ISD electrical staff who are certified to do this. So we're asking Board of Trustees, we're recommending that you grant the superintendent of schools the purchasing authority to approve all necessary purchases from approved electric supply vendors from district-approved proposals and/or purchasing cooperative vendors related to electrical supplies for the improvement of the emergency lighting system at 6 campuses. And these are the last 6 campuses who have the old system that we want to move to a backup battery pack. Mr. Sanchez,
I move to
Andres
approve.
Sanchez.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Jaime, correct? To approve, to delegate to the superintendent the authority to approve the purchase of electrical supplies for emergency lighting system improvements at 6 campuses from approved electric supply vendors. Any discussion?
Total for the 6 campuses of these 3 of the electrical supplies is between 140 to 160,000. And then we'll be done. Every campus will have the backup.
Is that as far as it's going to go, as far as the approval, up to 160,000?
Yes, that is the estimated cost.
Okay.
You have the money, Andres?
Yes, sir, in the local construction fund.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, let's take it for a vote. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's continue to item H, correct? Discussion of possible action for the board to approve a mechanical engineering firm to design the plans and specifications and provide construction administration services for emergency lighting system improvements at 6 campuses. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, again, the intent is to hire an engineering firm to design a system to replace the generators with technology that is less expensive to purchase and easier to maintain. The installation of devices will be done in-house by Weslaco ISD electrical staff who are licensed to do the work. So we are recommending that you approve Trinity MEP Engineering to design the plans and specs, as well as provide construction administration services for the emergency lighting system improvement projects at the 6 campuses.
So,
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Kennedy to approve Trinity Engineering Firm to design the plans and specifications and provide construction administration services for emergency lighting systems at 6 campuses. Any other discussion? All right, we'll take it for a vote. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Dr. Rivera?
Aye.
Motion carries. We will now go into closed meeting to discuss the following: personnel matters. Number 1, employment of personnel. Number 2, resignations. Number 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. Item A under 3, superintendent's recommendation for the position of Director of Information Systems. B, deliberation regarding acquisition of real property. Item C, consultation with attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation, a settlement offer, a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.071. Number 1, consultation regarding possible transition plan in connection with anticipated TA waiver requests. It will be a non-action item. It is 8:01 and we will go into closed session. (10:03) and reconvene an open meeting. Item A, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Let the record reflect that Dr. Rivera left the meeting at 8:01. Number 1, discussion and possible action on new employment. Dr. Canales.
Trustees, I recommend that you approve the employment of personnel as discussed in closed session.
so moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Dr. Jaime to approve new employment as discussed in the executive session. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye as I call your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2, discussion and possible action on resignations. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, administration recommends the approval of resignations as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Kennedy to approve the resignations as discussed in executive session. All in favor, or any discussion? None? All in favor, please say aye when I call your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3. Discussion of possible action on superintendent's recommendation for the position of Director of Information Systems. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, I am recommending for the position of Director of Information Systems, Mrs. Sandra Guerra.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Dr. Jaime. Correct?
Yes.
On the superintendent's recommendation for the position of Director of Information Systems, Sandra Guerra, correct, Dr. Canales? All in favor, please say aye when I call out your name. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Motion carries. Adjournment.
So moved.
All right, so it is 10:06. Thank you, gentlemen, for another productive meeting. Probably one of our longest, but we got things done today. Have a great rest of the week.
Stay safe, Coach.
Thank you. Stay safe.